Hey, what's up? Since last May, I've been upgrading this gaming PC. It was supposed to be a small upgrade. Yeah, that didn't happen. So I went from $200 all the way to $2,000. Should you do it? And why should you stop it? Get some help. Anyhow, wanna see what $200 got me before the RAM crisis? An i5, a motherboard with RGB, a liquid cooler, a PSU, and 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4, and a DVD player. Yep, it was one of those bring-your-own GPU parties. Allow me 8 seconds of backstory. Before this PC, I had a PS4 Professional and a MacBook Pro from 2013. See? 8 seconds. A wizard never comes late. We come quickly. Okay, so upgrade number 1 is what I needed to make it boot. So I added an NVMe. I got this Kingston at 1 TB for $70. Now it costs $185. Thanks, AI. So this is the starting block. Total cost about $250. Worth it? Not gonna lie, this PC as is ain't all that better than my ancient MacBook Pro. But, unlike my MacBook, that PC can evolve. Which brings me to upgrade number 2. One of the reasons I wanted to go with a desktop PC is so that I can avoid getting a PS5. Because if you ask me, that's not cool. So after a ton of searching, googling, reviews and benchmarks, I got what looked cool. So I got a used 2080 Super, the Asus ROG, from some dude in Germany for about $270. So 50% of the budget went to the GPU. Cool. But why? So the 2080 is effectively a 4060, just with a larger memory bandwidth. Or a B580. So now we have a PS5-killer. Or alternative, whatevs. The only one competing here is my salary against the cost of living. Anyhow, now the old PC can play any game at 1080p 60. I'm stoked. Worth it? This used gaming PC costs as much as a new PS5. But let me ask you, can your new PS5 do that? Can the new Xbox, whatever they call it, do that? Can a brand new, still in warranty console do that? Yeah. And no, I won't be adding an extra $70 for the controllers because my used PC, unlike your new still in warranty console, allows me to reuse my perfectly fine PS4 controller.
He's already dead.
No offense, but yes offense. The next upgrade might seem pointless, but there was a reason. See, I had this liquid cooler that didn't fit in the original white case, and while the Intel stock CPU fan was okay for the old i5, I had future plans. This looks like a spaceship. Shoot me. Han Solo shooting thing. It was either this in yellow or the Corsair 4000D. Plus about $30 for some extra fans. They are mid, but fine. In my case, I don't really know who Geometric Future is, but the build quality so far looks great. The airflow is incredible in the Model 5, and that's mainly to the PSU moving to the position normally designated for the DVD player. Simply stick to a PSU up to 140mm and you'll be golden. This case expects that we're going to be using a liquid cooler as an exhaust for the CPU and then an air-cooled GPU because, there is 4 fans all around it. Only fans. And it works. Both of the GPUs I tested in here max out at 60 Celsius. Cable management is a little tight, but you can make it look like a spaceship. Finally, any future upgrades will fit. $540 for the main PC, and $140 for the case and fans. Total cost, almost $700. And thus brings us to June 2025. Upgrade 4 happened this June. See, I wanted to double the amount of RAM I had, and I naively chose... That was my glasses. I was too naive and I chose to simply add 2 extra sticks of RAM, each at 8 GB, next to the old ones. I mean, it's a little slow, yeah, but it only cost me like 30-40 bucks. Now they cost 140. Thanks, AI. Looking back, of course, I wish I had spent about 80 bucks to get 2 fast sticks, each at 16 gigs, and keep the spare RAM. I was going through my reduce, reuse, recycle period. Was it worth it?
This is the worst!
But I do need 32 gigs of RAM, so I'm happy I got here somehow.
So you gotta make your own kind of music.
Upgrade number 5. It was the last day of summer. Poetic, innit? And I bought this. I bought this green screen for 40 bucks. It is this much by this much, and I don't know. It's fabric. I don't know how to review it. I may not have a clue and I may not have style, but everything I lack, well, I make up in denial. Worth it?
Surely, yeah.
Upgrade number 6. September 2025. See, while the 2080 Super was more than enough, given my 1080p 60 monitors, the CPU was struggling. Like, this old i5 is perfectly fine if you want to do one thing at a time. To give you some perspective, one day I was installing Rocket League while I was trying to play, I don't know, Guild Wars. And the installation was utilizing 70%, maybe even more, of the CPU. This was a wake-up call. My first instinct was to keep the same motherboard, RAM and everything, and simply upgrade the i5 to an equally old i7 or i9. The i7 costs about 100 bucks, and the i9 that I actually wanted to buy was 250 bucks used, at least in Europe, at least in September. So while the i9 remains silly expensive, I jump the gun. I hit order and I wait. But then I googled, I checked a few extra reviews and I saw those graphs. And then it got me thinking, what if? Okay, what if? So I googled it and I realized that for the exact same price, I can buy the 5800X plus a motherboard new. So I chose that. I cancelled the order and I chose that. But then I googled a little more and I noticed that. That looked weirdly cheap to me. Cancelled this order, added the 5950X plus a little better of a motherboard and called it a day. Total cost 440 bucks, up from 100 or 250. Was it worth it? The 5950X is effectively two 5800Xs next to each other. Yeah, cool, but was it worth it? Kinda. See, for now, I'm not gonna lie, the 5800X would give me 99% the same experience. But I got this 5950X because I bet it's gonna age like an Intel Xeon E5 something. These are ancient server CPUs. You can now buy them for 20 bucks and they can still game. Fingers crossed. So subscribe and I can come back with a review in a decade. Upgrade number 7 was literally cool. See, the old PC in the white case came alongside this liquid cooler that I couldn't really use. Hence I got the new case. But now that I have the 5950X, the AMD one, sadly my liquid cooler cannot fit here. Why? Because I got it used and we'd lost the bracket, those aluminum bananas. And I checked eBay, but it was a little sketchy and a little expensive. So I said, fuck it. I didn't wanna, but I realized that I would have to get some new cooler. After a ton of Googling once again, because I am broke like that, I chose to buy the Thermalite 360 RGB AIO. I don't really remember the name, and their marketing team likes to change it every month, which I find a little evil and nefarious anyhow. But the cooler, it can keep my 16-core CPU at around 30 to 70 Celsius. And I think that's literally cool. Please don't kick me out. Whew, let's take a breath because we've reached milestone number 1. It's September 2025, I've spent about $1,000 and this PC has been upgraded so much that it is not even my computer anymore. It's Theseus computer. Okay, super quick. Have you guys heard of the Ship of Theseus? The Ship of Theseus? No? Cool. You came for the cursed setup, but you will leave with more brain. Okay, so basically there's this old ship, right? And over time, stuff gets replaced. Wooden planks, nails, ropes, whatnot. And one by one, everything gets replaced. Eventually, none of the original parts are left. So the question is it still the same ship? Like, philosophically. And then, because philosophers in ancient Athens had a ton of free time, someone asked, what if you take all the old pieces and rebuild the original ship somewhere else? Now, which one is the real ship? And at that point you're like, dude, I came to watch a video about a computer upgrade. Why am I having an existential crisis about boats? But yeah, basically it's about identity. Like, if everything about something changes over time, is it still that thing? Food for thought. Anyway, back to the video. So this wraps up my 2025 upgrades. Total cost, 270 plus 270 plus 40 plus 400 plus 270 plus 440, about $1,300 or for me 1,100 euros. But why did I spend all that money? See, I've come to realize that one's computer is proportional to how soul-draining their job is. And my job in 2025 was traumatizing. It was a criminally unorganized and psychosomatic symptoms. This is a fancy Greek word that means it fucked me up. Anyhow, thank you shitty corporate job for enabling me to build this computer. And most of all, thank you for firing me 10 days before Christmas. Fuck this job, fuck this economy, fuck my fucking bachelors. Economy so bad, you might as well follow your dreams. So last Christmas, I burned the boats and I went full in on YouTube. I love this, really. Literally yesterday, I said no to free sandwiches because I wanted to complete the video in time. That computer made me a content creator and you make me a YouTuber. At around Christmas, I also did those 2 free upgrades. The first one is the DIY vertical monitor stand, and the second is, I don't remember, the storage I stole from my PS4. But these don't really count. Anyhow, as I'm rolling into 2026, feeling like a boss, I suddenly run out of VRAM. As a broke YouTuber, I ran out of VRAM before I ran out of money. That's a W. So after I did a ton of research, I even considered getting the 2080 Ti or a B580. But this wouldn't really be an upgrade. And then I checked the 3080 Ti, the 4070, the 5070, but I wanted something with more than 12 gigabytes of VRAM. And not gonna lie, I might be a victim of marketing here, but AMD GPUs are amazing for non-ray traced gaming. But in Premiere, I mean, I cannot test it, but according to the reviews I saw... Aww. And that's $800 or so. You know what's also $800 or so? A used 4080. Yep, if you go for one of the cheaper 4080s, they are $800 or so. A much better deal than a new 5070 Ti. As for a new 5080, bro, at least in Europe, it costs about $1,500. That's 2x the price over the 4080 for 5% more performance. And no, one 5080 is not enough for the AI slop filter. You following me? Before even selling my 2080, I bought a 4080. Follow me for more financial tips. And since I was spending almost 1K, I went for one of the better models. And because fuck you ASUS software, I chose to go with an MSI. I already have an MSI motherboard, so one trusty software instead of 2. W. Instead of getting a basic 5070 Ti, I chose one of the best 4080s, the MSI Supreme X. And let me tell ya, this GPU is a big boy. I mean, you can tell from the box. So big of a boy it is that I had to buy a new PSU. And while I was googling, trying to find some gold 1000 watt PSU, I came across that. Now again, this is overkill, but I chose it because I want to take advantage of that 100% silent mode. You know, when your PSU is chilling, the new ones can remain silent. You know why? Because they are passively cooled. And that's how I built my first editing PC. I got something cheap, I made it cost 1K, and then I made it cost 2K. Should you do something similar? Yine. Here's what I think you should also do. Do get an old office PC or an old gaming PC and upgrade it down the road. Steal memory from old computers and consoles. Do not vote with your wallet buying something new unless it is a good deal, like the B580 or some AMD GPUs. Please do not tell Nvidia that it is okay to charge 1,000 euros for... Do you know how much a manager makes in Greece a month? $1,500. Yeah, please. Do not tell Nvidia that it is okay to charge $1,000 for 16 gigs of RAM. It's not.
Stop it.
If you also need Nvidia, go used. Next, pay a little extra to get the same GPU if that means it's gonna run silent and cool. Plus it's gonna have a better resale value. And finally, yes, pay a little extra to future-proof, but only if you find an amazing deal. As in, my CPU, cooler and PSU, if I wasn't able to find those deals, I would just get the cheaper model and I'd still be okay. You know how I know? I'm an unemployed YouTuber, I've watched 2,000 reviews over the last week. And now, here's what I learned and what you should do differently. Yes, buy a case with great airflow, but maybe not as sexy as mine. You can save half the money. CPU. Get a CPU, new or old, in the ballpark of an AMD 5700. As in, get a basic 8-core CPU. It's gonna be fine for like half a decade. 3. I got an ATX Mobo, not a smaller and often cheaper M-ATX, cause I wanted to use the second PCIe. I never used it. You know why? My GPU blocks it. First world problem, I know, but I cannot use it. So, unless you know you will need the second slot and you plan on getting a thinner GPU, like the ProArt line, whatever, go M-ATX. You'll never have enough money to add the second NVMe on it, no matter what. And finally, sell the old junk to offset part of the cost. I didn't. What am I gonna do with all of those crap parts? Hey, yeah? Hey, honey. Would you like to play WoW on a real gaming PC?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, cool. Okay, I got you one, but you will have to build it.